A narrow strip of water in the Middle East is once again at the center of global tension, and this time the stakes are enormous. Over the past few days, attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz have intensified, raising fears of a wider regional conflict and possible disruption to the world's energy supply. Explosions, drone strikes, and military responses are being reported in one of the most critical shipping routes on Earth. With global markets watching closely and military forces on alert, the question now is, could this crisis escalate into something much bigger? Recent reports indicate that several commercial vessels operating near the Strait of Hormuz have come under attack in a series of incidents that are rapidly increasing tensions in the Persian Gulf. Some ships were struck by projectiles or suspected drone attacks, while others were damaged by explosive devices or sea mines. In one widely reported case, a cargo vessel traveling near the strategic waterway caught fire after being hit by missiles shortly after passing through the strait. Emergency responses were launched and crew members were forced to abandon parts of the ship as flames spread across sections of the vessel. Other merchant ships in the region reported suspicious approaches by fast attack boats and unmanned drones. Maritime security agencies warned vessels in the area to maintain extreme caution and increase surveillance as threats continue to evolve. Shipping companies have begun reconsidering their routes, and some ships have temporarily delayed passage through the strait due to security concerns. At the same time, military activity in the region has increased significantly. The United States and its allies have deployed naval assets to monitor the situation and secure commercial shipping lanes. Surveillance aircraft, naval patrols, and mine countermeasure vessels are reportedly operating throughout the Gulf to detect potential threats. Military officials say their goal is to ensure that international shipping can continue moving safely through the area. Iran, which borders the northern side of the Strait of Hormuz, has acknowledged targeting several vessels amid rising tensions with Western powers. Iranian officials argue that their actions are a response to increasing military pressure and sanctions against the country. Meanwhile, the United States has carried out operations targeting vessels believed to be involved in laying naval mines in the strait, according to defense officials. Several suspected mine-laying boats were destroyed in those operations. These developments have transformed the Strait of Hormuz into a highly tense maritime environment where commercial shipping and military forces are operating side by side. Every new incident raises concerns about further escalation and the possibility that the conflict could spread beyond isolated attacks. To understand why this situation is so serious, it is important to look at the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz itself. The strait is a narrow waterway connecting the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea and the wider Indian Ocean. It lies between Iran on one side and Oman and the United Arab Emirates on the other. At its narrowest point, the strait is only about 33 kilometers wide, yet it carries a massive portion of global energy trade. Approximately 1/5 of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow corridor every single day. Major energy producers in the Gulf, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, depend heavily on this route to export oil and natural gas to international markets. Tankers leaving the Gulf must pass through the Strait of Hormuz before reaching customers in Asia, Europe, and other parts of the world. Because of this, the strait has long been considered one of the most strategically important choke points in global trade. Any disruption to shipping here can quickly ripple through international energy markets and affect economies worldwide. Tensions around the strait are not new. For decades, geopolitical rivalries in the Middle East have repeatedly placed this waterway at the center of military standoffs. Iran has previously threatened to close the strait in response to economic sanctions or military pressure. Western nations, particularly the United States, have consistently warned that any attempt to block the waterway would trigger a strong international response. Current escalation is unfolding against a broader backdrop of regional conflict and political confrontation. Military strikes, diplomatic tensions, and competing strategic interests have created a volatile environment across the Middle East. In such a situation, even limited incidents at sea can quickly become part of a larger geopolitical struggle. The implications of the escalating attacks are significant and extend far beyond the region itself. One of the most immediate concerns is the potential impact on global energy markets. Because such a large share of the world's oil shipments passes through the Strait of Hormuz, any disruption can cause sharp reactions in oil prices. Traders and investors closely monitor developments in the region, and even small incidents can trigger sudden market volatility. If attacks continue or intensify, shipping companies may become reluctant to send vessels through the strait. Insurance costs for tankers operating in high-risk zones could rise dramatically, making it more expensive to transport energy supplies. In extreme scenarios, a sustained disruption could reduce the flow of oil to global markets, potentially leading to higher fuel prices and economic pressure in many countries. Another important implication is the growing vulnerability of commercial shipping in modern conflicts. Advances in military technology have made it easier for smaller forces to threaten large vessels using drones, missiles, and explosive boats. These weapons can be launched quickly and are often difficult to detect before impact. As a result, protecting every commercial ship traveling through busy waterways becomes extremely challenging. Naval forces can escort some vessels and conduct patrols, but the sheer volume of shipping traffic in the region makes complete protection nearly impossible. This means that maritime trade routes may remain exposed to unpredictable risks whenever regional tensions escalate. There is also the concern of broader military escalation. If attacks on ships continue and more vessels are damaged or destroyed, international pressure could grow for stronger military responses. This could lead to direct confrontations between naval forces operating in the Gulf. Even a single miscalculation, such as a mistaken identification of a vessel or an accidental strike, could rapidly expand the conflict. Regional powers are watching the situation closely. Countries that rely heavily on energy exports through the Gulf are concerned about maintaining stability and keeping trade routes open. Meanwhile, global powers with economic interests in the region are evaluating how best to protect international shipping while avoiding a wider war. The crisis also highlights how interconnected the modern global economy has become. The disruption in a narrow maritime passage thousands of kilometers away can influence fuel prices, shipping costs, and supply chains across the world. From transportation and manufacturing to food prices and electricity costs, many aspects of daily life can be affected by instability in key trade routes. For now, the situation remains fluid and uncertain. Military forces continue to patrol the region, while diplomatic efforts are underway to prevent further escalation. Shipping companies are monitoring security advisories and adjusting rates when necessary. Global markets remain sensitive to every new report coming out of the Gulf. What happens next in the Strait of Hormuz could have major consequences, not only for the Middle East, but for the entire world. Whether tensions ease through diplomacy or continue to escalate will likely shape global energy security and international relations in the weeks ahead. For viewers trying to understand global events, this crisis serves as a reminder of how strategic geography, economic interests, and political tensions often intersect. A single waterway, only a few dozen kilometers wide, can influence global trade, energy supplies, and geopolitical stability. As developments continue, staying informed is more important than ever. We will keep monitoring the situation and bringing you clear explanations of the major stories shaping our world. If you found this breakdown helpful, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss important updates on global security and international affairs.